Today's shout out is for Zuldinga. Animar versus Nath of the Gilt Leaf. Pretty good opening hand for us. We've got all of our colours and can ramp on turn 1 with that Green Sun Zenith. Just an Urborg from my opponent and, okay, awesome. Draw into a turn 1 Llanowar Elves, so I'd rather do that than the Green Sun Zenith, because we can save Green Sun Zenith for something bigger later on. Crack the Bloodstained Mire for a Tiger and play out the Mana Dork. Our opponent gets out an Umezawa's Jitte. And we draw into a Bloom Tender. Let's get down the Hinterland Harbour. We'll come in untapped. We can make Temur mana thanks to the Dork. And that is a turn 2 Animar for us. Phyrexian Arena for our opponent this turn. Don't know if that's going to be fast enough for them. We'll draw a couple of extra cards to it though. Surrak Dragonclaw for us makes our creatures uncounterable and gives trample. So play the Bloom Tender here, put our first plus counter onto the Animar. That will tap for Temur. And then we can play out the Elvish Visionary, that will cantrip, and it only costs a single mana. Alright, excellent, making some good draws here. Fyndhorn Elves will be able to be played this turn. We'll get pinged by the City of Brass and get another plus counter on the Animar. So our creatures are going to cost 3 generic less as it stands now. Just need to dodge a board wipe from our opponent and we'll swing in with the Animar for 4 commander. Phyrexian Arena triggering for the first time, knocks them down to 35, but they do start with 6 cards in hand. It's just a board wipe we're scared of pretty much. Okay, Sewer Nemesis, not really bothered about that, we've got protection from black. So a nice surplus of mana next turn, and we managed to get into a land, so play the forest straight away. Tap down Temur on the Bloom Tender, and we'll go straight in for the Dragonclaw. Get milled by the Sewer Nemesis, and that's just a basic mountain. So now have Trample with the Animar. Play out the Bane of Progress for only 2 mana, get rid of the Umezawa's Jitte and the Phyrexian Arena. Alright, and that's enough for our opponent to decide to scoop. We'll see what we would have drawn with the Muldrifter. Alright, Phyrexian Revoker would have been free. Not sure what I would have named with that. Cloud of Fairies to untap some lands. Yeah, that was a pretty quick one, so we'll try again. Couple of Temur commanders now. Animar versus Maelstrom Wanderer. Not the best opening hand for us, although we do have some ramp there. Yeah, we'll keep it. We are on the draw. Just a forest from our opponent. We get some protection for our commander in Fierce Guardianship. So crack the Wooded Foothills for a Simic land. Oh, and actually don't have the Simic Jewel in here, so I'll have to rectify that later. Have to shock in a Breeding Pool, and then play the Wild Cantor, so that we can crack that next turn and get our commander out. Some Simic mana for our opponents, so they might be looking to counter us. Wouldn't have thought so in a Maelstrom Wanderer deck. They don't tend to have too much counter magic. So sacrificing the Dork will allow us to get our Animar down on turn 2, which is typically what we want to do. And down it comes. They go for a Brainstorm at the end of our turn. And there is a 3 visits, so we could go for the Fierce Guardianship on that and hope that we manage to take them off red mana. But I'm sure there's lots of ramping Maelstrom Wanderer and they will fix their colours at some point. So yeah, gonna hold on to the Fierce Guardianship so that we can protect the Animar. Grim Monolith, 4 cards in hand, could also counter that because 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 likely gets their commander down next turn. We will counter the Grim Monolith. Alright, excellent. Drawing into a land here, so we can go for a 2-drop with the Green Sun Zenith, I think. Probably just go after a Bloom Tender here. Yeah, out of all of these, it's either Sakura Tribe Elder or Bloom Tender. I'll hope that we can keep the Bloom Tender in play and just play that. So Animar still at a 1-1 because of the creatures that are in our hand. Hopefully, like I said, we can have the Bloom Tender stick around. This will tap for 3 mana, which means we've got access to 6 mana next turn. Alright, and they ramp further with a Cultivate, so being forced to cast the Cultivate there. Although maybe they would have played it anyway. Holding up double blue, 4 cards in hand still. We draw straight back into the Green Sun Zenith. So we could just play it safe and try to counter any kind of ramp that they go for here. Yeah, let's go for Glenelendra Archmage. Plus counter on the Animar. Actually could have gone for Green Sun Zenith into the Dryad Arbor there. I'd spent the green mana from here. Maybe should have tapped down for red. Yeah, well, we've got the Green Sun Zenith available to us still anyway. Going pretty slow for this Animar deck. They drop another island, still one land away from getting down the Maelstrom Wanderer. Okay, and it is a creature, Ilhag the Raiseboar. So now we get a Cloud of Fairies. That will only cost us 1 mana, so no reason not to do that. And play the Cloud of Fairies for a single blue mana. And then playing Terror of the Peaks, we've got 3 mana floating, and we've still got the blue held up for the Glenelendra Archmage. So our creatures cost 3 less. Probably best to go Soul of the Harvest here. So doing exactly that. Our opponent scoops there. That's really surprising. We're not anywhere close to winning. I don't know why people are so terrified of Animar. That was a really slow game for Animar. Let's see what we were drawing into here. Birds of Paradise. I mean, we're likely to draw into creatures. There is a lot of creatures in this deck. But yeah, play birds, draw into Urabrask. Maybe we can get up to Kozilek next turn, but I don't think we would have been casting it. Couple of fast games here, so we'll try again. Up against Tajic this time with no turn 1 or turn 2 ramp. I will have to mulligan. Okay, we can go Green Sun Zenith into the Dryad Arbor. We'll just keep that one, get rid of the Kozilek. Grab Tiger with the Bloodstained Mire, and it's a Green Sun Zenith on turn 1 where X is 0, so we can go for the 0 powered creature or the 0 CMC creature in Dryad Arbor. And our opponent has a turn 1 Mana Crypt. Just tap down their white mana there straight away. Alright, and it's a Mentor of the Meek. So thanks to getting out the Dryad Arbor there and getting out a dual land, we can actually go for Cavern of Souls here, naming Elemental. And then we can tap this for blue, red, green, and out comes Animar on turn 2. It's a turn 2 commander from our opponent as well, thanks to the fast mana, so down comes Tajic. And they decide against swinging in with the Mentor of the Meek. They were going to take it into the red zone there, but pulled back. Alright, I was going to say it'd be great to get into a green land. City of Brass is a green land. So that means we can go Hardened Scales and Augur of Autumn here. Hardened Scales going to add a plus counter for every single creature cast onto Animar. So casting the Augur of Autumn, 2 plus counters onto the Animar. And the Augur of Autumn going to allow us to look at the top card of our library. I think we get... yeah, we can play lands off the top. We've just drawn into a land. Or I should say we've just played a land. Not going to... Oh, actually, I forgot about the protection from black and white, so should have swung in there. Because our opponent wouldn't have been able to block anyway. Not worthy that there is a Castle Ardenvale now. An Urabrask, we have one of those in this deck, so our creatures are going to come down tapped now. Not sure it really matters. Maybe we would have liked haste on some of the mana dorks, but yeah, we've got the Animar in play now. Not worthy that they can block with this. And swinging straight in with the Urabrask, we will just allow it. Draw into the land, there is a Walking Ballista. Could get that down here and just have 1 plus counter on it. We can always bounce it back with the Cloudstone Curio, I suppose. I'll hold on to the land in case we can play one off the top. We've got a creature with power 1, 2 and 3, so we can play creatures off the top thanks to the Augur of Autumn. So play the Walking Ballista, 2 more plus counters on the Animar. And that means that we can go for the Primordial Sage here. An extra plus counter went on the Walking Ballista thanks to the Hardened Scales. I think I'll go after the Primordial Sage. So Animar now up to a 7/7. We'll play the Glenelendra Archmage. Can't hold up the counter on that unless we get into a blue land off the top. Or Augur of Autumn doing some serious work for us here. We're going to draw a card, one of which, or the card that we're drawing off the top is Botanical Sanctum, so can play that this turn if we want the blue mana. Alright, and there's another land on the top, so would we rather just clear that off? Yeah, just in case they go for a Wrath, I think we're best just holding up the blue mana. Oh, does this come in tapped? Unless you control 2 or fewer lands. Right, okay. I'll scratch that. Should have gone for the forest then. Yeah, I might have to take that out of the deck. I thought that was the other cycle that says if you control 2 or more lands. So, yeah, some kinks to be ironed out, I think. Swing in with the Animar. They cannot block. We'll see if our opponent has a Wrath, because that blue land coming in tapped could be detrimental. Rune of Speed for our opponent is going on to the Tajic. Just noticed that we've got a friend of the channel here, Marcus Lol. Is that how you say that? So a massive thank you to Marcus for watching. Shout out to you. And there we see a Glory of Warfare. This seems like a really fun Boros deck. Very on theme for Boros. Leaving the Urabrask back this time, so we want some creatures to come into play untapped. Then we could swing in first. There is that Green Sun Zenith again. Might be time to just go for the Prime Speaker then. Let's swing him first, because they're just going to block with the Urabrask anyway. Although, if it's only 18 commander damage, maybe they won't. Yeah, okay, they do let it through, hoping that they can get into something that will benefit from haste with the Urabrask. So let's go for the Prime Speaker. We're going to draw 10 cards here, thanks to the power on Animar. And hopefully we'll get into an untapped blue land, draw from the Primordial Sage, couple more counters on Animar. Prime Speaker Vanifar coming in tapped. Oh, I actually forgot about the additional counters there, so that comes down with 13 power. We've got a morph creature there, a couple of morph creatures actually. Willbender, yeah, some counter spells in the form of morph creatures is really good. Trample Enabler we can surprise our opponent with next turn. So we should just play a land off the top here, seeing as how the Augur is going to allow us to do that. And then we'll cast the morph creature face down. Primordial Sage will draw us again. The Cloud of Fairies is now revealed on top. We might as well play that. Again, drawing and adding more counters to Animar. So untapping City of Brass and the Botanical Sanctum. We've got access to an Eldrazi now. I'll play another face down creature. Got access to another counter spell as well, so it's, yeah, our opponent's pretty much done for here, I think. Play out the artifact creature simply to get more power onto our commander. Just gonna name Swiftfoot Boots with that, not sure what to name. That might be of some detriment to us. Let's just cast the Eldrazi, might as well. We can get rid of the Mana Crypt, get rid of the Urabrask. Both of those are exiled thanks to the Ulamog. And then I think we're okay to just leave it there. Just discarding a bunch of mana to hand size pretty much. A Mind Stone isn't going to help my opponent, I don't think. I'm not really sure what they can do here, if anything. Drawing a card with the Mind Stone. Then playing a Forbidden Friendship. That does get them into a blocker. We don't have protection from red, but we do have trample thanks to the Nylea, so 1 mana to drop a god, and we do get this one. Rishkar is on the top. So drop the Nylea, draw a card with the Primordial Sage again, and then we won't waste our opponent's time. Our opponent's been very gracious playing this one out for us. Big thank you to Marcus for watching the channel again. Turn the Animar in sideways. That is, at this point, a 23-23 with trample, pro black and pro white. So chump blocking with the dinosaur token. Our opponent just having a bit of fun with us. So there we are, some convincing games with Animar, as you would typically expect with Animar. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Surprised. I thought I'd played Animar on this channel, but apparently I haven't. It's a famous 1v1 commander. If you want to see more from it, then be sure to let me know. Please consider donating on Patreon as well. It does really make a huge difference to the very few of you that do support on Patreon. Massive thank you to those of you that do already. I'm tribalkai. Thank you for watching.